Welcome back to Total War Pharaoh, and today we're going to learn why Babylon is at war with Dur-Kurigalzu, and we're going to see, once we get to our army over there, just how sieges would have worked historically compared to how they work in Pharaoh Total War. So we're going to start by ending our first turn. We only got through all of one turn last episode, and if you missed it, that's fine. It's on a playlist, but we're not really focusing so much on the gameplay here, but seeing what we can learn historically from this somewhat simulation of the ancient world. We see that Dur-Kurigalzu is sending an army very close to my guys. Now, the usual Total War approach would be, I think, to attack this army. But of course, in ancient history, it's not always certain that you would know where an enemy army is. If the two of you weren't very clearly, not quite coordinating, but almost making it very clear where you were, sometimes armies really could miss each other or could just bypass each other. But oftentimes you wouldn't want to bypass an army too much in reality because he could chase us down. And so, thinking with our historical caps on, we are going to try and get this Captain Balassi out of our territory. Being encamped right here in this field means that he is attacking our farmers. He's eating our food. And of course, as it says right here, this is a sacred Mesopotamian land. We can't have this random army attacking us. So we're going to go over. They can't eat our food. We're going to attack them and eat their food. This is a small enough battle that we're just going to auto-resolve it for a decisive victory. We're Babylonians, and so we're going to take these valuable prisoners. What are we going to do with these valuable prisoners? We're going to enslave them and sell them back in Babylon. But that's just how it went back then. So we're going to move up here towards Dur-Kurigalzu. We're not going to make it this month. It'll be the summer by the time we get up there. But that's okay. We're making good progress. Yeah. Next turn, we're going to do it. Now, in general, when the king would go on one military expedition a year, most years, some years they wouldn't be able to afford it. They would hold off on the kingly military expedition, but it would be basically one per year that would take a month or two or sometimes 3. Then they'd come back to the capital and handle all the administrative tasks. And so this pending actions menu is telling us that we've got construction available in both one city and 2 outposts, but we're not going to do it until this campaign is done. Just because, even though we're not actually going to bring our king back to Babylon after every campaign, because Total War just won't let us, we are going to, while we're on the march to somewhere, we're going to imagine that the king can't deal with these sorts of things. Unassigned skill points. He can pick up a skill, though. He's certainly capable of self-improvement. And so his skills, presence, fortitude, and ardor. Now, he is a jungle fighter turned king. He is beloved among the people. And so I think presence is one of his great competencies. So we're going to be improving that. We're going to prefer to improve that. Also, his ardor and fortitude should also be quality. This guy was quite a high quality fellow. So we are going to stick with that. Does he have any other weapons we can go for? Does he have any items? I don't really know. Oh, he's got his armor on. He's got his shield. He doesn't have any mounts or items or followers. It's a little... I mean, this is the beginning of a game, so we will end turn and move forward with that. Why, though, are we attacking Dur-Kurigalzu? Well, as we discussed last time, any campaign would be begun by taking various divinations, basically asking the gods what should be done. And the gods would have said, go attack Dur-Kurigalzu, assuming that these particular Kassites weren't already against us. But the real reason, the land is moist and abundant, richly nourishing these provinces. It is winter. Oh, it is a good winter right now. The army shouldn't actually be out in winter, but again, it's total war. We have a year-round army for some reason. But really, what's going on is, you'll recall that the Assyrians had taken over just a generation ago this entire area, but had a real tough time of it, and constant resistance and rebellion had thrown them out. Historically, Adad Shuma-Usur is the one who gets credit for re-entering Babylon after the Assyrians withdraw, not necessarily credit for taking Babylon from the Assyrians, which likely means that all these people are independently claiming to be separate kings. And Dur-Kurigalzu is the most critical of these, because this was the ancient Kassite capital city aside from Babylon. They started in Babylon, but at a certain point in the late Bronze Age, they built this city. A king named Kurigalzu built Dur-Kurigalzu, which means town or fort of Kurigalzu, and that became sort of a secondary capital for a long time. So the fact that there are still Kassites in this town that aren't under our control means they potentially could make a claim or a bid for dominion over this whole area. And so, we're going to put a stop to that. Now, Dur-Kurigalzu has nice mud brick walls, and we have the full range of siege options available to us, which is quite a nice thing that they've done here. Each of these would have looked very different in practice. A wall sapping, well, I mean, it takes a very high labor force cost to do some wall sapping. We have 108 labor force. Oh, but we only have 10 available per turn, so this will take a minimum of 2. I do want to look at wall sapping at some point, but they didn't always sap the walls directly, and I wonder if this is going to look more like how it looked in Rome. Siege towers or battering rams are something that the army would have had to bring with them. The amount of wood required, you see all these trees here on the map? There would not have been nearly this many trees in ancient Babylon, just growing everywhere. Battering rams were such a precious resource that a nation would only have a handful of them in the treasury. So we're going to bring a battering ram because we're Babylon. We have a couple in the treasury that we've picked up when we retook the city. And we're going to build some siege ladders out of just whatever is available to us. And we're going to... Oh, this thinks we're going to lose really badly. So we're just going to continue the siege for now, put some ladders up. We want ladders for him, for him, for him. These look like our main strong troops. We'll run them up the ladders. We'll run these Akkadian farmers. One of them will hold the battering ram, and we'll batter down the walls. So we'll continue the siege for now. And again, there's not much we can do. We can worship a new god. Oh, we can devote a general to a god. So Adad Shuma Usur would have been personally devoted to the god Adad. However, he's king, so he would have taken on a very special relationship with Marduk, who is the patron god of Babylon, of course. So it would, as part of Adad Shuma Usur's royal coronation, he would have entered into a very special relationship with the god Marduk. So we're just making that official. It would have happened even before he left the city, but here it is. So we're going to end turn because we can't do any administrative tasks because the king is off handling a war. This is definitely going to come back to bite us in Total War terms, but we're playing as historically as we can for this campaign. Oh, so Kingu has sallied out from Dur-Kurigalzu because he thinks he can beat me. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not totally sure he can't. We'll see just how long this Let's Play goes. But the computer will definitely lose for us. We've got some axemen to look out for, some warriors, some bowmen, some cavalry, which check out the rest of my channel for what exactly I think about cavalry. These are light cavalry, melee cavalry, which definitely aren't a thing. But I don't know how we're going to deal with this. We've got another general coming in, Demetheria. That sounds like a Greek name, but we'll see how this battle goes, and we'll see how Dur-Kurigalzu looks. Now, this is a historical sort of thing. In certain parts, in certain eras of history, actual sieges of cities that went on for months and months were extremely rare. Usually, in most of the late Bronze Age, an assault would happen or the defenders would come sally out. Oh, this is interesting. They've chosen to fight us in the rain. And so this is going to damage the composite bows that make up most of our archery complements. So probably what we want to do, and we will micro a little bit more than we did last game. What we probably want to do is set ourselves up on top of this hill and shoot as much as we can. We want to set these chariots. Where do we want to set these chariots? Maybe down here. Oh, that's a cliff. You can't set a chariot on a cliff. Yeah, these chariots are really going to struggle. Let's set them here. See how the computer reacts. I don't think we can make the chariots effective operating historically. But one theorized tactic, and I say theorized because we really don't know all of what the chariots were doing. One theorized tactic is that they were running back and forth behind or in front of the enemy and just weakening constantly. I personally like the idea that they were targeting much more carefully individual units, but let's just see also they're going to be good scouts for us. Since we're on the defensive here, we do want, there we go, we do want them to come to us. So we're going to move our archers a little bit forward to hopefully catch them coming across this tar pit, this little marshland. This is just a low-lying area. Oh! it's extremely hard to see the terrain around here. Look at that. So we're going to put these guys actually up here, since we do have this cliff. Oh, since we do have this blind cliff, and we're going to stick our infantry right in front of the blind cliff. And yeah, we will run them because we do have enough time for that. And we will just keep our chariots here to sort of taunt them. Bring them into one line, and once we're in range, we will escape. Cleverly escape once we get them. These peasants, by the way, they look very good. This is a very good representation of the clothing that a regular Babylonian or broadly Mesopotamian would have had. Note the shaved heads and lack of beards. We usually think of all of Mesopotamians as having great big beards, but that would have been quite hot. These guys are dressed more as these skirts that they're wearing. This is more of a day laborer thing. Oh, what are they calling now? They calling that it's time to get active. But the clothing is very well done. Let's stay out of their range. There we go. That's the good. Oh, there we go. And while the commander would not have had a lot of micro-control over the chariots, the charioteers themselves would have been noble people with full ability to move around the battlefield on their own, even when they weren't in the king's personal retinue. That said, they're not accomplishing very much. They're actually getting completely ruined for no apparent reason. Could they have done arrow dodging? At long range, to a certain extent, they could have. Chariots were not super agile. What we could do is stay in skirmish mode and go harass this general. See what that accomplishes. Chariots would have definitely been going after the most important people in the battle. All right. Oh. Oh, yes. We have a certain amount of realism turned on at this point. Okay.
King of Babylon.
Oh, the chariots aren't doing so well. But that's because... I don't know. That's because there's only a couple of them. They should be able to harass these guys a lot better. But they're being chased by archers. Now, interestingly, there is one theory that says that the downfall of chariots happened in the late Bronze Age precisely because of pinning tactics like this. Oh, we're destroyed. And we are defeated. Now this, historically, would have been absolutely appalling. Now, historically, this would have been absolutely appalling. This may well, since this is his first campaign as a full king, this is the sort of thing that would have kicked the king totally off the throne. So what do we have left? We have our chariots left, we have some troops left, and we can run back to... Yeah, we do have the ability to run as fast as we can back to Babylon. Now, how would this have been recorded in ancient history? Because kings did lose. You wouldn't want to lose your very first campaign. That would have been a pretty bad sign, all things considered, especially against what we've already declared to be a rebellious province. But what he will come back to Babylon and say is, hey guys, I went out against the rebellious tribes of Kassites. I defeated them twice. You may say, what, you only defeated them once? No, we won that first battle, and then we caused them to flee in the second battle. Oh, and then we did defeat them. So we defeated them 3 times. We would proudly announce that they had been defeated 3 times, and we had gone all the way to the walls of the enemy city. And once we had reached the walls of the enemy city, we would proudly announce that we had raided all sorts of farms, cut down trees, taken captives from the outlying settlements. It looks like it's just wilderness out here, but this would have been full of outlying settlements all up and down the river and through this canal network. So we would come back and say, yes, we accomplished a spectacular raid against the enemy at Dur-Kurigalzu. And being back in Babylon now, we can handle all the decrees that we need to handle. So, oh yeah, we don't need another god dedication slot. Do we want... Oh, well, we might need preparation against reprisal because we have probably angered the gods. Because we're going historically, rather than looking at effects, we're going to look at titles and judge what titles seem most appropriate to us. Longer festivals for extra happiness. We really can't afford longer festivals at the moment. Life of the soldier, that's a good thing. Stone shapers. Well, we're not really stone shapers in Babylon, though I think they do want us to take that at some point. We're going to skip that for now. We're going to do preparation against reprisal, because the gods did tell us to attack Dur-Kurigalzu, and we were not successful with that. So what else is on our to-do list? We got a settlement upgrade in Uruk. We got some buildings. We're just going to assume that the king has come to Babylon ahead of the army in order to handle these sorts of things. We're going to upgrade our dice to a house of games. That seems fiscally irresponsible. Are we going to boost the administration in Uruk? We get another 10% resource production, another workforce growth, and a little bit more administrative burden. Now, administrative burden is a new, pretty cool thing that they've got up here. I don't know how new it is. I didn't play the base game that much after it came out, so I'm really not an expert on mechanics. But this does speak to the fact that ancient administrations really did benefit from having ancient bureaucracies, but things also got more burdensome the larger the nation got. And so, as it gets higher and higher, recruitment costs go up, upkeep costs go up, but also having more scribes, record keeping, that sort of thing, really did have benefits for all sorts of areas of life, even if it did also come with costs. So we can afford, we have a lot of resources because we haven't been spending them like we're supposed to. So we are going to upgrade Uruk. We're going to look at upgrading Babylon. Canals, yes, we definitely want more canal. Oh, no, we don't. We can't. If we can't do canals and military, because we do need slightly better soldiers. If anything, we have learned that our soldiers are not quite good enough. Idle workforce. Well, we'll keep an eye on how the idle workforce section goes. Usually you'd get all your workforce at once. Where workforce came from for an ancient king, and let's see if we can build some outposts that are worthwhile. What can we build? What can we build in Babylon? This outpost right here. Military outpost wouldn't be the worst idea, given that we've just irritated the Kassites to the north. But I think long run we want something more economical. Or, well, we can't do anything religious. Can we do... Let's do... Yeah, we need to build our economic base. Babylon needs to be wealthy. Let's build this trading post. Even in defeat, we did pick up a skill point. So I think we've learned something about fortitude from this defeat. So we're going to pick up a point in that. And I don't think we can do anything else here. So let's end our turn.
Babylon endures.
So we're going to end here for today. We have managed to absolutely fail at attacking these northern Kassites because I'm terrible at this. Somebody much higher skill probably could have done it. My excuse again is I'm being very historical. And so we're going to leave it right there for next turn. Next turn we're going to really examine what do the economies of these cities look like and how realistic is that. We're going to look at what is involved in building up an economy in the ancient world and see about building up our, we'll call it our military armories, because we wouldn't actually have all this many soldiers under arms when we're not on campaign, and hopefully put ourselves in a position to actually unify Babylon, which is going to require, because of my low skill level, quite a lot of military superiority going into each battle. So if you want me to focus on any particular aspect of Mesopotamia or Babylon or the game or history, let me know down in the comments, and we'll have another episode when we have another episode. So thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe so that you can join us next time.